I don't have an overreaction for this. I think Hugh Freeze is a pretty damn good football coach. I know that. Should Auburn fans be happy with this news? Felder, what do you think?
I mean, how long are they going to be happy? I mean, seriously, heck, how long are they going to be happy?
As long as they're winning. I mean, to me, that's what the flow and the expectations in the SEC are, though.
Does he stay there longer than Nick Saban? Stays at Alabama, starting now.
I mean, shit, man. You're talking about it completely, but Nick Saban set that standard, dude. Like, realistically speaking, though, like, let's be honest, though, Felder. I mean, the SEC was always good, and it was always kind of Jurassic Park, but they didn't have a dynasty like Bama before Saban. I mean, for what Bama did, they transformed everybody. They made everybody have to catch up. They made everybody have to catch up to a different standard. To me, maybe I'm speaking out of my ass because I didn't get to see some of the other older generations of like
you're not
really good SEC
let me tell you,
programs.
You're not speaking out of your ass. The SEC went through multiple eras. They went through the Bama era. They went through where it was the Florida era. They went through they went through these things. They went through Tennessee as well, was amazing.
Yep.
They went through eras. But Nick Saban was like, hey man, you better run with me or I'm gonna destroy you.
I mean, because he even caught Florida in an era. Like, and he started beating Florida, like, so, and he's lasted, right? And
dude, what he did with McElroy in the 2009 SEC championship game was amazing. So
it's beautiful, but I'm saying I think it's a different time. I think when Saban got it, you're talking different expectations, different media presence, different visibility, top to bottom into your program. So it's hard to me. It's really hard to compare that. Do I think Hugh Freeze is extremely hungry? Yes. Do I think he's a hell of a football coach? Yes. Do I think that there's some things that have happened in his past that are very, very questionable and are going to cause more eyeballs on the program moving forward? Yes. But what fixes all of that is winning. And if you can come in there and something we've talked about, the transfer portal is a freaking hell of a thing. It can cure things a lot faster than anyone had to talk about. Oh, I got to get through 2 recruiting cycles. Just let me get some of my guys. No. You can get your guys tomorrow if you hit it like Lincoln. So, to me, that's what's going to cure it is if Hugh Freeze really is motivated and really wants to get back and really wants to prove that he's fixed all the bullshit and all the baggage that came with him. No one's doubting his ability as an X's and O's guy. Go in there and start winning some ball games.
Hack, what do we think is, because there's different bars to winning, right? What do we think that bar is at Auburn right now as he's taking this job? Is it beat Alabama consistently? Is it play in the SEC championship game consistently? Or is it like a couple 9-win seasons to get started and they're happy with that?
Well, I mean, I think the fair statement here is, I mean, you're talking about Auburn, dude. Like, they're not that far removed from being national championship contenders. Like, you're recruiting kids who know who Cam Newton is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're going to a
They were in the SEC championship game in 2013. Or excuse me, they were in the national championship game in 2013.
Yeah. It's not like you're talking about Nebraska, who half these kids, couldn't even tell you.
Scott Frost.
Yeah, who these guys were in Nebraska. Nebraska was really, no one wanted to schedule Nebraska for a stretch of about 8 to 10 years there. So there's a lot more visibility. There's a lot more recognition, and there's a lot of talent within 200 miles of your campus. So go do what you got to do, man. And Auburn resonates with all of those kids. So what the expectation is, I think that's yet to be determined. But what I'm saying is the ceiling is as high as you could imagine at Auburn. The floor really isn't that low, right? In terms of what you probably have sitting in your building right now, or shouldn't be, and in terms of how quickly you can turn it around. So to me, I mean, whatever the expectations are going to be, that's going to be handled by other people who have a lot more invested in that program than I ever will. But I mean, being able to come in and compete and win an SEC championship is not a crazy expectation within the first 2, 3, 4 years.
But how do you deal with the rest, the outside? Whether it's not just NIL, but also like just the people, the boosters. Because we've seen teams have problems with that, and we've seen programs have problems with that. A&M's going through it right now.
Yeah. I mean, Felder, that's $1 million question. You know, I know how I'd personally handle it, and you know, I'm not gonna disclose that, but but yeah, I mean, that's $1 million question. That's what those guys get paid the big bucks for. They got to figure out how to answer that.
I love that answer. I think you're spot on. That's why you make the money, right? So
that was a great Coach Hack answer. Final thing on Auburn from me here. Felder, do you think that the landscape of the SEC right now makes it easier on a coach like Freeze stepping into a place like Auburn right now to potentially get to that destination of winning, to jump over that bar than it was maybe 5 years ago when the Alabama program was at the highest of heights that it was firing on? Because let's just throw names out. We've got Georgia at the top of the game right now, but Georgia's worked their way up into this over the last 5 years. We've still got Alabama. We've got Tennessee, who was the story of college football this whole season, that was right there. And within the last 3-4 years, we've seen LSU do it too. It's not like this is just Bama, Bama, Bama. It seems like there is an opportunity for other SEC programs to pop in and out of relevance at the playoff level. Do you think that's easier or harder than it would have been 5 years ago for a guy like Freeze stepping in at Auburn?
Well, let me ask you something, Greg. Who's Auburn's number 2 rival?
Shit. I don't even know.
Georgia.
Is it Georgia?
Yeah.
That sounds tough.
So your number 1 rival is Alabama. And then your number 2 is Georgia. You think they're not going to give you that work every week? Every time, listen, if you want some, come get some. And so that's Tennessee has the same problem, right? Tennessee's got to deal with 3 of them. Tennessee's got to deal with Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. Every year, they got to deal with that. That's what Tennessee's got to deal with every year. And so I think that for Auburn, it's not an easy road. And especially when the other team is looking good, you got to look upstate and you're like, dang, they're killing it. Ain't that close. So I think Auburn's got some really good players this year. They just got to figure out what they got to do.